What's going on, guys? Apathetic here, and today we are going to be comparing two weapons that are closely tied together from a lore standpoint. These weapons are the yin and the yang, the light to the dark. I'm talking about the Last Word versus Thorn. So in today's video, I decided to take these two weapons, see how they compare in the Crucible. I'll compare their base stats, talk about strengths and weaknesses, and lastly, tell you which weapon I feel most comfortable using. Now let's jump in. Starting with the base stats on these two weapons, you can see these weapons really are yin and yang, as it seems that every stat that one hand cannon excels at, the other lacks, all with the exception of their impact stat, which is basically the same. For example, Thorn has a base range of 40, while the Last Word has a range of 28. Thorn has a handling of 68, while the Last Word has a handling of 28. The Last Word has a reload speed of 82, while Thorn has a reload speed of 46. So just based on those stats alone, we can tell these weapons are going to excel in very different scenarios. And with that, let's talk about some strengths and weaknesses with these two hand cannons. And before I get into that, I'm using both these weapons on PC, okay? So if you're on console, I'm sorry, you have recoil, okay? But don't get mad at me because I play on PC. It's the only way I can cover it, because I have these weapons and I have a PC. It's the only way. All right. Now that we got that out of the way. Starting with the Last Word, this hand cannon excels at close to medium range. It is amazing for burning down shotgun apes, and especially for you guys that love to play with snipers, this weapon definitely helps complete your loadout. The Last Word can also compete at medium range, at least on PC, because of that lack of recoil. It allows you to pace your shot and really melt people from decent distance. It's not Ace of Spades like range, but the Last Word will definitely surprise you with how well it performs at range. Oh, and did I mention, depending on the situation, you don't even have to aim down sights because of its exotic perk Fanfire, which increases reload and accuracy when landing successive shots from the hip. It really makes this weapon versatile. You can either ADS to take down people from medium range or hip fire when people are a little more in your face. Getting into the cons for this weapon, guys, and the big one is for me consistency. This weapon at times can feel like you're aiming right at someone, but the shots just aren't landing. I've had multiple instances where I'm up in someone's grill hip firing, aim is on point, and my shots just aren't connecting. The second con with this weapon is because of its limited range, it really forces you to pick your battles. You don't want to get in the habit of challenging pulses and Ace of Spades at long ranges with the Last Word. You got to be a little more aggressive and really play up close when using this weapon if you want to be as effective as possible. Moving on to Thorn. This is a weapon that definitely feels very snappy, and that's due to its amazing handling. Makes it feel very light, and going in and out of ADS feels very smooth. What makes this weapon super potent is Mark of the Devourer, and while it doesn't do a ton of damage, it offers a lot of utility in terms of marking your enemy, being able to push them because you can still see their location from the damage over time. Also helps keep enemies out of the fight just a little bit longer, since they can't start recovering their health till Mark of the Devourer wears off. Oh, and don't forget, when you get that kill with Thorn and pick up those remnants, it does a ton more damage with the Soul Devourer buff, increasing that tick damage from 2 to 7. Now this weapon functions more like a typical hand cannon because of its range. You can challenge it a little bit more at a distance in comparison to the Last Word, which could open up more angles for you to attack your opponents from. But in the same way, you can easily get closed in on by a shotgun rusher when using this weapon. For the cons on this weapon, my first one is the reload speed coupled with the magazine size. While the Last Word has a similar sized magazine, it makes up for it with the reload speed. When I'm reloading Thorn, I feel like I'm in slow motion, and it's only got 9 rounds in the magazine, and this is coming from someone who mains transversive steps, having that auto reloading in there. So if I didn't have those, I would probably lose my mind. The second con for Thorn is the recoil pattern. The stat does say that it's 100 recoil direction, but Thorn definitely pulls up and to the right. It can really throw off your shot, especially with how fast this weapon shoots, and that's even on PC. So again, on console, I'm sure it's even harder to control, but something with the weapon model and coupled with the recoil, it just really can just disorient your sight and your ability to focus on your opponent. So that's definitely a big con for me. Okay, so we've broken down these weapons. Now it's time to answer the question, which one do I prefer or I think is better? Now before I say, I want to know in the comments down below, if you had to choose one of these weapons, which one it would be and why. Now for me guys, honestly, I'm gonna have to go with Thorn here. The reason being is mainly because of my playstyle. I love having a weapon that allows me to attack my enemies from multiple angles, and with the last word, I feel more limited in how I can approach attacking my opponents. Now, if I like snipers, maybe I would feel differently, but I don't. I hate sniping and I love my Mindbender's ambition, which also brings me to another reason I prefer Thorn, and that's because with the last word, I end up barely using my shotgun and tend to rely on the last word almost too much, to the point where I don't switch to my shotgun even when I should. But that honestly speaks to the lethality of the last word at close ranges. But honestly guys, you can't go wrong with either of these weapons, and your playstyle is ultimately going to be the big decider in which weapon you choose. Thanks so much for watching guys. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.